Hey guys, how's it going? Looks like a lot of you guys are here a little early, so I'm just getting everything set up. Once I'm done posting this to pretty much all of our pages so everyone can join, we can start looking at the charts for the week. But just give me a few seconds, guys. Let me get this all online, and then once we get that done, we can get started. But if you guys are new here, just remember, if you guys have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat, and then I can answer pretty much whatever trading related questions you guys have. Otherwise, I'm just going to be going down the watch list to make sure that we lock in all of the critical zones so that we know where to trade and where not to trade this week. So let me just get everything ready, and then we can get started, guys. Just give me a few more minutes. But you guys can go ahead and put questions in the chat if you guys do have any questions. Meanwhile, I'm just going to get everything online, and then we'll be good to go. So let's see. I'm going to share this link. On Facebook. All right, we got on that. Just send it to everyone here. One last page. I'm gonna get on the Instagram real quick. All right, almost done. Get this link. Dang, today's the 4th, guys. It's October. This year's flying by like crazy. All right, let me get this on Instagram real quick. Swipe up to join. All right, looks like we're almost done. Let me just post this up real quick. All right, we got that there. Swipe up. All right, perfect, guys. So let's see. I think we're good to go. Check the calendar real quick. All right, awesome, guys. So if you guys are new here, what we do here on Sunday on Market Open, basically what I do is I go down the watch list, and then I mark up every chart from scratch just to show you guys where the points of rejection are. So you can see right here, basically we did this last Sunday, like at some point over here, and then you can see like throughout the week, it respected these zones perfectly. Like we didn't change any of these zones. These same zones were charted on Sunday, and then we pretty much just, rode it until the end of the week. And it works pretty good. Like you can see from the other pairs as well, like USD CAD over here, we charted these on Sunday and they respected these zones perfectly. So if you guys have these zones, it gives you an edge in the market so that you guys can know where to trade and where not to trade. Because obviously if you're taking a sell right here, you might want to exit that trade, because what might happen here is it might reject off here. And then same situation here, if you were taking a buy, you might not want to ride all the way to the top, because then it could reject right off it like it did right here. But we'll do this from scratch. I'll show you guys exactly how I chart up the charts for the week so that we can be well prepared and we have an edge in the market, so we know which direction to be trading and which direction not to be trading. So let's get started, guys. If you guys have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat and I can answer, any questions you guys have. If you guys want me to cover any specific pairs, I know some of you guys have some active trades right now. So if you guys want me to go and analyze them for you live, real time, feel free to put them in the chat and then I can go over them. Otherwise, I'm going to be going down the watch list. And as we get questions, I can take breaks and then I can go ahead and take a look at those pairs that you guys want me to analyze for you. But all right, guys, so let's get started. Actually, let's get started with the news. Let's see if there's any news coming up this week, so we know, what to expect. So here's the news right here. If you guys aren't familiar with the economic calendar, I generally use Forex Factory. I just go to calendar. I don't look at the the small news. I just look at the high impact and medium impact news because those are likely to affect the market. So you can see right here at 5:30 there was Aussie news, which was medium impact, was the NAB business confidence. So if you look at the chart, you can see that there, there was a little bit of some spikes in price, as soon as the market opened. You can see right here, some huge wicks, right? So these are good things to look out for. Like generally, I don't trade news at all. I see it as a gamble. I used to trade news all the time, and it was a hit or miss. It was either I lost a lot of money or I made a lot of money. So me personally, I've been trading for about 10 years now. I don't like to take unnecessary risk. Like I only like to take trades if I'm absolutely certain that it's going to go in that direction, because you get to a point where it's not all about the profits anymore. It's more about winning consistently and managing your risk. So if you guys can, maximize your profit potential by winning so much and not losing as much, at the end of the week, end of the month, end of the year, you'll end up in profit. Like if you guys have seen our results for the year, like I'm very careful with my trades. So you can see here, for our FX trades, we've had 416 wins and only 133 losses. So if you do the math on that, so let's see, we got 416 plus 133, that's 549. So if we divide 416 divided by 549, my win percentage is about 76%. So that's, in my perspective, that's pretty decent. Compared, if you have anything over 50%, you're pretty much set, because you could literally take every trade and be profitable at the end of the year. So, this is what I mean. It's a long-term game. It's not a get rich quick scheme. It could be, but it could also be a get broke quick scheme if you don't, manage your risk properly. And then same with the our US 30 call. So I'll check the percentage for this as well, because a lot of people keep asking, what's your win percentage? And all of our trades are documented. So if you want to go and check all of the trades that I've called, they're all listed. So this is 63 plus 12, 75, right? So 63 divided by 75 is going to be 84% win rate for our US 30 trades. So this gives you, a pretty good idea as to how we trade. I have all these trades documented from January till today, and that's our win percentage. So, anything over 50% is pretty good. Even higher is even better. So, if you just copy every single trade, or if you trade the K2 strategy, you could be profitable if you're just consistent and you stick to the game plan. Let's see, Miracle said, do you also trade gold? Can we see analysis too? So yeah, Miracle, we'll get to gold a little later. So I will go, well, actually I'll do it for you right now before I get started, because once I get started with the watch list, I'm probably going to be focused on that for the most part. So we'll just start with gold, because I don't normally trade gold, but the K2 indicators and strategies do work on gold. I personally just don't trade gold because I've been burned by gold so many times where I just don't find I just don't find it fun to trade. I'd rather trade US 30, which, moves kind of similar, but it moves a little smoother. So here's gold right here. What I do to start off is, so you can see right here is a naked chart. I just have like the pivot high lows on the chart. I can take those off though. So this is what a normal chart looks like, right? Generally what I do first is I'll turn on the K2 SR version 2 indicator, this one right here. And then you can see these zones plotted on the chart. So once you have these zones right here, what I do is I create my own zones. So what I do is I open the rectangle tool. I go ahead and draw my own zones over the K2 SR zones. And generally, if these zones are too close to each other, what I do is I just connect them together. So instead of having, all of these separate zones over here, I just make one big zone right here. And it wouldn't really matter because price is like way down here. So, it's kind of relevant to even, focus on this area up here. But if price was to shoot up to this point, then yeah, we'd be more specific with these zones. But for now, since price is below here, we're going to be more focused within this area down here, because this is where we're going to be trading for the week if you're trading gold. So let me just draw the rest of these zones right here. Let's draw that one right there. Actually, no, we could break these zones up right here just to give you guys a better picture. Because I know it's kind of hard to see if there's just like one huge zone right there. I want to show you guys where these rejection points are and how strong they are. So right here, these overlap, so I create one big zone. And then we got this lower zone down here as well. All right, perfect. So now that we have this lined up, what I do is I hide the K2SR indicator. And check this out. You have perfect zones on the chart for you. See how perfect they are? They go from zone to zone. So basically price broke this zone. It broke, retested, shot up to this zone over here, consolidated, and then it literally just bounces from zone to zone. So you bounced up here from that zone. It bounced down to this old zone right here, bounced right back up to this zone, consolidated, and pretty much just bounced around. So broke this zone right here, came back to retest, rejected. So this would probably be a zone up here too, but since the zone is so far from current price, that's why it hasn't been lined up. But if you go back in time, you'll see that the zones somewhat connected at some point. So you can see right here, price comes down and it literally just bounces from zone to zone. So, just looking at it from a bird's eye view, you can see that these zones are very helpful because you can see exactly where price is likely to reject from. It's not 100%, but it gives you a good idea where to trade and where not to trade. So check this out right here. Price is within this zone right here, right? So if you were to take a buy right here, basically if we took a buy right here, we would try to exit at some point right here, or we would move our stop loss. So if we're in a buy right here, we'd probably move our stop loss and profit slightly below this point. So you can see right here as price came up, as it came down right here and pulled back, we would have gone stop down and profit. So same situation right here. You can see that price rejected off this zone right here. Price is likely to possibly come down right here, retest the zone. And this gives you a couple different scenarios. So in this situation right here, price could either reject off it or it can break below. See, this will be your scenario right here. You can go and you can weigh the risk between taking a sell or taking the buy in this direction. So once you have that lined up, the next indicator that I use to determine the direction of price is the K2 momentum indicator. So I turn that on right here. And you can see here that it works perfectly. So you can see price rejected off this point, and then you could have rolled this in this direction. Same situation right here. We had a sell right here, but if you were to take a sell, you would enter a short position right here, put your stop loss at the previous swing, which should be somewhere over here. And then you could pretty much ride that down. You can see that price came up, it still retraced up. But as it retraced up right here, it's coming back down because it rejected off this point. Because you can see that this trade over here actually never finished. So it rejected off this point, and generally, like I mentioned, price goes from zone to zone. So this is where it tested this zone, and now it's bound to come down. So if you're trading gold, or if you're looking to trade gold, I anticipate it to come down from here. So if this signal right here closes, this sell signal, it's a clear rejection off this zone right here. So price came up, nice rejection wick right there. We'll zoom in even closer, and then we get a sell signal right here. So if this sell signal closes, what's probably going to happen here is probably going to come down and test the zone. And then once it tests the zone, it could either bounce off it or it can break below and continue down further. So if this candle right here closes, if you guys are familiar with the K2 SR zone trading strategy, basically if this candle right here closes, we can ride this down from this point, stop loss at the previous swing right here, just maybe somewhere above it. So 2,500 pips. Or this, I think this would be 250 pips actually, if you're counting standard pips, not micro pips. So if this was to close right here, this would be perfect because price can pretty much go down, hit CP right there, and there you go. So this is how I anticipate gold to move right now. And if you want to have another confirmation, so with each indicator that we use, there's multiple confirmations. So with the K2SR, this is going to show you the rejection zone. So you can see price rejected off this zone right here. The second confirmation would be the momentum indicator. So right here, you can see we got a sell signal. So it's likely that momentum is going to come down because check out what happened right here. So we got a sell signal right here, right? Once it broke this zone right here, we would have entered a short position right there and then wrote it down to TP. So same situation right here. Price broke into the zone, then it closed below. We got a sell signal, so we can ride that down again. So that's exactly why I analyze this for a sell right here, because it's been the same situation, all throughout. Like you can see right here, we got a sell signal, right? and then it broke the zone right here. So as it broke the zone, you could have entered a sell right here up until this next area right here, because like I mentioned, generally price goes from zone to zone. So if we got the sell signal right here, we wrote it down and then it rejected off here. Like I talked about earlier, if price was getting close to this zone, you can put your stop loss, you know, somewhere near the zone, so that when it does reject like it did right here, you get stopped out in profit. So same situation that happened right here, I anticipate happening over here as well. Because if you go back and look at the chart, you'll see that price, and you know, basically the way price moves for a lot of assets repeats itself. So if you look at all these currencies, let's go back. So I'll just take off the momentum indicator, and you can see that the same zone area was tested way back in July. So check this out. If you tested it way back here, you can see that it tested the same zone. So it broke it. It was a break and retest right here, and then it came down. It's trying to re-break it to come back down, but it didn't. So it rejected right off. So this is a strong support right here. So if you go back, let's see if it tested that point anywhere. Actually, I think this is the highest point gold has been in a long time. So I don't know if there's any time it's passed. Let's see, go to the daily. Okay, so check out that same support that we were just looking at, right? Look at the last time it tested. It tested in, dang, it's crazy, in September 2011, the same exact zone. So you can see we barely marked the zone up today, right? This same zone has been tested in 2011. So you can see how strong these zones are. You know, it goes back as far in data as you want it to. So this will give you a, you know, a good understanding as to where to trade and where not to trade, because like I mentioned, like history generally repeats itself. So the same exact zone, see the same price area right here? The same exact zone was tested in 2011. So let's go back to current time. Look where it tested right here. Same exact area. Like it's going to test that area, you know, some point eventually. So if you guys have access to the indicators, this gives you a huge edge in the market, because you can literally use this for any pair. You can use it for gold. You can use it for any currency. You can use it for Bitcoin. You can use it for indices, literally anything. And instead of you having to go back and, you know, mark these up yourself, because the problem with a lot of people when they mark zones is that they don't mark them in the proper places. So instead of you having to guess, you just use the indicator to pretty much put all of this data together and mark it up for you. You know, like, why do you have to work so hard to like get these exact zones when you just turn this on and these same zones are already plotted for you? And then you do what I do and you put your own rectangles over them, and it's perfectly fine. So yeah, Miracle, basically for gold, I do anticipate it to come down. So if you're in that trade and if you're in for a sell, I think you should be completely fine. So let's see, this candle is going to close in about 56 minutes. So in about 56 minutes right here, here's the timer for the 4-hour candle. If this closes and this sell signal closes with the signal intact, then, you know, odds are it's probably going to come down pretty heavy. I might even jump into this as well. I don't even trade gold, but it looks so good that I might take it myself. So there's gold for you. And then I will continue on with the other assets. So if you guys have any other questions, if you guys want me to analyze anything specific, feel free to let me know. And I can pretty much analyze this just like how I did for Miracle. You know, it's real simple. I did this in what, like in a few minutes, like 5 minutes. And it's super efficient. Like there's no guesswork here. Everything's pretty much done for you because you let the indicator plot the zones for you. So let's get started. I'm going to go through all the watch lists. I'm going to start with OddCAD over here. And just like I mentioned, I'm going to start off with a naked chart. I'm going to take everything off the chart. You can see right here, these zones from last Sunday, they worked out perfectly. You can see price pretty much tested these zones and they lined up perfectly. So the same zone right here that it tested on the 1st was tested on September 4th, August 26th, August 16th, August 3rd. It was literally tested so many times up until July. And if we go back even further, you can see that this same exact zone was tested back in April of 2019. Like you can see that history always repeats itself. So if you guys have this edge in the market, you know, this is kind of like a little cheat code for you guys, so you guys know exactly where to trade and where not to trade. So let's go back and let's see. All right, cool. So I'm gonna go and I'm gonna delete all this stuff. Let's go from scratch. K2SR right there. And then let's draw these zones over here. So like I mentioned, if the zones overlap, I generally just connect them. So I'll connect this one this one right here, connect this right here, this zone right here. Connect this right here. Right there. And then last one way down here. All right, cool. Nice. So I'm going to hide the indicator and I'll show you guys what it looks like on the chart. So you can see right here, these zones line up perfectly. Price comes up, rejects off this zone, comes down, rejects off this zone, comes up, rejects off this zone, comes down, rejects. And then right now it's in consolidation. So pretty much right here, it's pretty much gonna like bounce around between these zones. So it could either go right here and it could either break above it, or it can reject right off it right here and come back down, possibly come down here, or reject off it again and come back within the same area. OddCAD's generally a pair that consolidates a lot. I mean, it's a lot of the Aussie pairs. The Aussie pairs generally move like that unless there's some sort of news. There was some news today. Let's see. At 5:30, there's actually a ton of Aussie news this week. So there's news on Monday. There's news on Tuesday. There's news on Thursday or not Friday. Okay, so basically every day except Friday. So looking at this here, you know, generally, if you guys are familiar with how I trade, I don't like to take unnecessary risks. So when it's consolidating like it is right here, I don't like to take the trade. If price breaks above here, then yeah, I'll take this trade because like I mentioned, price goes from zone to zone. So if it breaks the zone right here, I'm going to write it to this next zone over here. Same situation if it breaks below. So if price breaks, so if it rejects off this point and breaks below here, then I'll take a sell. Because I like to be very accurate with my trades. You know, I don't like to take trades just because. I like to take trades if I'm almost 100% certain that it's going to hit TP. Because like I mentioned before, you know, it's all about minimizing your risk and eliminating your losses. Because if you could have as little losses as possible, you're going to be profitable at the end of the week, the month, the year. So let me just turn on actually here. So I'll give you guys the zones right here. So this upper zone up here is going to be 0.9583. I'm going to round that down. And then this zone down here is going to be 0.9487. I'm going to round that down as well. So those are the two zones within this area. So those are going to be those two rejection points. If you guys have access to the indicators, you guys will have that for yourself and you guys can, you know, always look back at that. So let me check this out right here. I'm just going to analyze this real quick and then I'm going to look over the chat. So looking at the K2 momentum indicator right here, we got a sell momentum, right? So right here, you know, in order for me to take a sell, I would want it to close below this point, like down here, because check this out. So you can, I'll just rewind to this point right here. So you can see right here that we got a sell signal, right? So what did I mention before? When we get a sell signal, it's going to come down and it's going to test this zone or maybe this zone before rejecting up. However, if it breaks below it, like it did right here, then I would take a sell entry, right? Right there. And then I'd put this, I'd write it to this next zone over here for about 33 pips. Because like I mentioned, price generally respects these zones. So in this situation right here, as price comes down, you know, we'd hit full TP. And then what could happen here is you could either reject up from this point, or it can break below and continue further. So let's play it out and see how it goes. Check that out. It hits full TP right there, right? And then what happens? It's probably going to reject off it or it's going to come below. Came down below, tested that zone right there. And then at this point, same situation. So once it gets to that point, it can either reject up. Let's delete these right here. It's too messy. So it could either reject up or it could break below. There's only two scenarios that can play out, right? So like let it play. And what happened? It's perfect. It lined up with the line perfectly. And this is what I mean, like price goes from zone to zone. So price came up from this zone, tested this zone right here. We got a buy signal, right? Okay, so here's this, you know, we would have had this win right here, right? And then same strategy, guys, like it's super simple. Like a lot of people like to overcomplicate trading, but it's if you make it as simple as possible and you use something that actually works, you know, you can actually be very profitable just trading the same strategy like I do every single day. Like right here, we got a buy signal, right? It broke the zone right here. So I would have taken a buy right here. Put my stop loss at the previous swing, which would be somewhere down there. You know, if I was to rewind this, see, like I mentioned, if price was to come to the zone right here, I would move my stop loss and profit. So right there, it got close to TP. I would have moved my stop loss right below here. So if price was to come down, I get stopped out in profit, or I can still shoot for full TP. So if you let it play out, it ends up blasting like right up right there. And then what happens right here is price can shoot from this point up to this zone over here. And look what happens. It did exactly what I did. See how I lined it up? I didn't even know it was going to come up there, but it shot up and then it bounces from this zone, you know, probably down to the next zone. If we get a sell signal, then it's probably going to come down. So it actually tested way up here, right at that zone. So we got a sell signal right here, right? Once we get that sell signal, it's going to do the same exact thing. So we got that sell signal right there. If it was to break below this zone right here, then, you know, we anticipate it to, you know, shoot back up or continue down. And then that's where we are currently. So that's why I wouldn't trade within this point right here, because it's just too close to these zones. Like you don't want to enter a buy right here, and then as soon as you enter a buy, it drops. And then you don't want to enter a sell right here, because as soon as you enter a sell, it might bounce right back up. So it's too risky to take those trades. You know, I take very high probability trades. That's why our win rate's so high, because I'm very careful with my trades, and I only take trades if I'm absolutely certain that they're going to hit TP. And, you know, you guys can trust the signals because I'm taking those on my own account. Like I'm not just giving out signals. I'm actually taking those trades myself. So I have skin in the game. You know, I'm worried too, like you guys are, but I trust the strategy, and, you know, I just take the trade and I let it do what it's supposed to do. But yeah, so that's Odd Cat right there. I'm gonna go through the chat real quick, see what questions we had. All right, so we got one from Rick. Rick said, if I take a RR, Rick said, if I take a trade now and I take one in the next 3 hours, will they count for the same day time frame? Rick, so let me see. Rick's question said, if I take the trade now and I take one in the next 3 hours, would they count? I'm not sure what you're asking, Rick. So are you using like FTMO, or are you talking about, because if you carry a trade to the next day, I don't think it really matters unless you're trading FTMO. I'm assuming that's what you're referring to. But FTMO is based on CES time. So if that's what you're talking about, the time changes at like 5, I think, because they're on a different time zone. I'm not sure where you're located, Rick, but you know, just going back to your question, you said if you take a trade now and take one in the next 3 hours. Okay, yeah. So you're talking about FTMO. Perfect. So that's what I figured. So FTMO, they are based on CES time. So let me pull up the time zone calculator real quick. Let's see, what's that thing called? The time zone converter. All right, cool. So here's the converter, Rick. So CES is, yeah, Central European Summertime. This is their time here. So their day changes at midnight their time, which would be, I'm not sure where you're located, Rick. Oh, all right. What's up, bro? I didn't realize because your name said Rick. But yeah, all right. So basically their time changes at 3 p.m. my time. I think you're, are you Central? Are you CST or CDST? Rick P's my code name's Ark Fesley. Yeah, Ark, nice man, nice. So yeah, if you're I'm not, well, what's your time zone? Ark, okay, Texas. Let me just type in Texas. That'll be easier. El Paso or Houston? Okay, so you're just, yeah, you're CS. So 5 p.m. your time is when your FTMO is going to get reset. So if you take a trade before 5 p.m., and you close it, then that would count for your previous day. Once you take a trade after 5 p.m., that's going to count for the next day. However, if you carry it over, so say if you have an active trade at 4 p.m. and then you carry it past 5 p.m., then it's going to just continue on, but it's still going to count as a trade for the previous day. Dallas, so let's see. They only have 2 options here. It's El Paso and Houston. Let's see. I think they're the same thing though, right? So let's see. I don't think they're okay. So it might be an hour difference. But this El Paso is a MDT, so you're CDT. That makes sense. So yeah, all right. It's 5 p.m. your time. So if 5 p.m. is going to be the cutoff time for you, depending on when you want to trade it. Yeah, it's pretty simple. I mean, you're I think, are you funded now, Ark? If you're funded, then I mean, it wouldn't really matter because you don't really have you still have to do the 10-day trade minimum, but I don't think it's going to be a huge deal because you can just take some penny trades just to pass that requirement. It's not too difficult. But yeah, okay, so there goes that. Let me see if there's any other questions before we move along. All right, cool. So that looks like that's it for those questions. Now I'm going to go through the next pair. So this is OddCAD. If you guys have any other questions, feel free to put them in the chat, and then I can go over, any pair you guys want me to look over. But I'm pretty much going to look over all of these pairs right here, basically all of the currency pairs. And then I already went over gold, but I'll just review that again once we get to it. And then I'll go over US 30. If you guys want any of the other indices, feel free to let me know. Actually, I can go over the main one. So I can go over NASDAQ, SPX, US 30, and I think that's about it. I have these others on the watch list, but most people don't really trade them. So unless you guys want me to look at anything specific, feel free to let me know. I can take a break and take a look at whatever pair you guys want me to look over. Otherwise, I'm just going to go over what we have on the watch list because this is what everyone else trades. Nice. All right. Yeah. So did you, I'm not sure if you took any trades over the weekend because you could have taken some Bitcoin trades or, some sort of crypto. But if not, that's fine. I mean, just, knock out the days. I would just take a trade right now. So right now, probably open like a 0.01 for like US 30. Just open and close it. It doesn't matter if it's a win or a loss. It's just a few pennies, but then it's going to count that day for your FTMO. So that once you have those 3 days, you'll have your funded account. And then you can start making some real money. All right, so let's go to the next pair, odd CHF. I'm going to hide the momentum indicator. Okay, so this is what the chart looks like now. You can see how nicely it rejects off these zones, right? We marked up this zone last week and this zone over here too. So you can see it rejected off it perfectly. So let's delete that. I'm going to turn on. Yeah, Aaron, that's all right. All right, so let's go to the K2SR right here. And then let's draw these rectangles. All right, so this zone up here, and you guys can see how easily I do this, and I do this quick. Like, you don't have to spend hours, days like marking up these zones. Literally, if you have the indicators, they do all the work for you. Because I know a lot of people have trouble, marking up these zones. Because I could, if you're doing this by scratch, it is difficult. It does take some time, but if you guys have the K2SR indicator, it pretty much does everything for you quickly and efficiently. All right, so we got this right here. All right, cool. I'm gonna hide this. Zoom out of here so you guys can see what I'm looking at. And you guys can see here that, man, this is nice. Like, check this out. The price rejects off these zones like perfectly. Look at this same zone that it tested right here. It tested this in August. It tested it in July. It tested it in June. I mean, it's hard to like not look at it because it tests it so perfectly. So obviously, if you're taking a sell, you want to get out before it reaches this zone. If you're taking a buy, you want to get out before it reaches this zone. Same situation here. If price breaks below this zone right here, let's check out the momentum indicator. It's perfect. We have a sell right here. So this is actually an active trade that was probably running from last week that I didn't call because, there was a lot of news last week. So technically this trade would still be active. And I anticipate it to, if it closes below the zone, it's probably going to shoot down and hit full TP right here. So if you guys are looking at odd CHF, it's a pair that I don't really like to trade because it moves too slow. But if you guys are in it or you're looking to enter it, obviously it looks like a nice sell right here. Yeah, it looks perfect. And if you want to do this from scratch and just look at the trend, check this out right here. Beautiful trend down. See, if you guys tie everything together, I mean, you guys don't have to use the indicators the same way I use them. There's a ton of different ways you guys can use them for. But yeah, this is a nice sell right here for odd CHF. If you guys are looking at it, just for you guys' reference, the upper zone right here is going to be 0.6603. I'm gonna run that down, and the lower zone right here is going to be 0.65165. And that's just the very low part of the zone. The thing is, price could come down, it could test the zone right here, or it can go down further and test the bottom of that zone. But I'm just gonna give you guys the farther one down so you guys have that cushion. But yeah, those are the two zones for odd CHF right there. Benedictor George, can you check USD CHF, GJ, and GN? Perfect. Yeah, so I'll take a look at that. I'm gonna speed through these other pairs because I know not everyone focuses on all of these. But when I get down to, so the first one that on your list is gonna be GJ. I'll take some time on that. Also for GN, I'll take some time on that. And once I get down to USD CHF, I'll take some time on that too. The only reason I'm going in order for specific currency pairs is so if you want to go back and look at the analysis, or you want to just look back at this later on in the week just to see where the zones are, you can go ahead and rewind the entire the YouTube video, and you can go back to pretty much if I'm looking at odd CHF here, you can fast forward, and then you'll know that everything is going in order. So that's the reason why I'm not jumping around. But I'll definitely get to that point, and I'll take my time on those specific pairs since you guys want me to look at those more in detail. So let's go to the next one, ODJPY. I'm going to delete these zones, zoom out, turn on the K2SRs. And I'm just going to zoom through these because, unless you guys want me to go in detail, I'm still going to have, we still have the bi-weekly live webinar as well. So I'm just going to mark up these zones for you guys so you guys can have an idea what to look out for. But I'm going to be going over these again during the week anyways. So unless there's something specific, then I can, take some time on that. Otherwise, I'm just going to zoom through these so that you guys can have your upper hand and you guys can get ready and start preparing for the week, depending on what strategies you guys want to apply. There's a ton of strategies. There's not just one strategy to apply. I mean, I only use the K2 strategies because I find that to work very well. But there's no wrong strategy. Like you can literally apply any type of strategy you want, but you guys can use these K2SR zones as leverage for understanding where the rejection points are. So right here we don't have a lower zone. So what I do in this point, because price is likely to if it closes below this point, I'm anticipating it to continue further down. So in this situation right here, if we don't have a zone, I'm going to go on the higher time frame and create a lower zone right here. So you can see right here that the next zone is going to be, so there's a zone down here. Sorry, wrong tool. There's a zone down here, but there's also a closer zone right here. So if there's a zone all on its own right here, I'm just going to, it doesn't matter. I could just connect this one because it's not too far from it. So I'll go back on the 4-hour, turn off the K2SR indicator, and then you can see right here that these prices, it respects these zones perfectly. So price comes down, rejects back up, comes back down, rejects back up. And then literally it's like a staircase coming down, right? Comes up, comes down, comes up, comes down, comes back up, comes back down. And literally right here, let's see where momentum is going. So the last signal we had right here was a buy signal. However, there's a ton of zones right here that it has to break. So I wouldn't take any trades here until it gets way up here, which is probably not going to happen this week. So I'm probably not going to even take this trade. But with the COVID news, Trump getting COVID, all that, odds are it's probably going to head down. And that's because the JPY is a safe haven currency. So if there's like craziness going on in the world, people generally put their money into safe haven currencies. So you can see right here, price came down heavily and then it came back up. And then So like right here, I wouldn't take any trades until it gets way up here. However, if we get another sell signal, like we did right here, right when we get a sell signal, what happens? It tests the zone and then it comes back up. So if we get another sell signal right here, then, odds are it's probably going to test the zone, and then it could probably even drop even further way down here. So for odd JPY right now, it's not something I would take because it's just a little too risky. However, the upper zone, just for you guys' reference, is going to be, let's see, 75.91. I'm around that down. And then this lower zone down here is going to be 75.91. Oh, sorry, 75.19. Round that down as well. But yeah, going back to what I was talking about earlier, I don't like taking overly risky trades. This is just a little too risky right now, especially with the COVID news. You'll never really know what's going to happen. Plus, there's a ton of Aussie news as well. So I mentioned on the news right here, we have Aussie news at 8:30 on Monday. Pretty much most of the day on Tuesday. Again on Thursday, and that's about it. But I mean, there's news all throughout the week, especially on Tuesday. So Tuesday looks like a very risky day to trade. I'm probably not going to trade on this day because we have the Fed speaking. We have the ECB president speaking twice, actually. He's actually speaking all week. So it looks like all the Euro pairs are going to be kind of iffy. I mean, the whole week just looks crazy. I mean, we're going to be careful this week. I'm not going to be taking any crazy trades. I don't want to break our streak. The past 2 weeks, we've had like a crazy streak, guys. Like we have no losses. So I'm not going to be too risky. I'm going to keep that going. But anyways, that's odd JPY. Let me keep going down further. Odd NZD. This is a trade we have active right now from last week. So we enter this right here. Same strategy, guys. So check this out. I'm actually out of this trade because like I mentioned, see right here, we got a sell signal. Let me just rewind this. So we got a sell signal right here, right? What happens when we get a sell signal? It comes down and tests this zone right here. Look what happens. Comes down, it tested the zone and it bounced right off it. But we still have it active because technically it didn't hit full TP right here. So it could probably still continue down. So I'm not doubting this trade at all because it still looks like a good trade. However, I got out because like I mentioned, once price gets to this area right here, I generally like to move my stop loss in profit so I can get out in profit because as it rejects off it, hits my stop loss in profit, I'm out in profit, no more stress. I don't have to worry about it. But technically it's still going. So let me just go back. You guys can see that the zones right here look pretty nice, but I'll redraw these zones for you. So check it out. The price tests these zones perfectly. Rejection, rejection, rejection. And it literally bounces back and forth. Same situation right here. Price came up, came down, came up, came down. But I'm gonna go ahead and delete these right here. And then turn on the K2SR indicator and then redraw them because there's probably new zones from this week versus the ones from last week. So let's draw these zones right here. Oh, and the thing with here, let me show you guys one thing too. So the thing with these zones is that they adjust as price moves. So let me go back to somewhere over here. You can see that they have different zones right here, right? And then as price moves, the zone automatically adjusts for you. So every week you can just draw new zones and your zones from last week are probably still going to be there. So you can see right here, there's no zones up here. And as it moves, it creates new zones. New zone right here. Price broke the zone, came back up. It's going to test, it just pretty much creates new zones as price continues to move. So this is why we do this weekly because new zones are created every week. If the same exact price point has been tested, that was tested, years back, months back, weeks back, it'll create a zone. So it's good to know what's going on, real time. So you can see right there, zones just keep getting created as they go. So I'm gonna go into current time and I'm just gonna finish the zones that I was drawing. So right here, we have this zone. We got this zone right here. This one down here. This one right here. This one. And I'll just make a big zone down here. let's hide that. And there we go, perfect zones. So yeah, price was to come down from right here. Or it looks like it's gonna keep pushing up maybe. So like right here, it might push up, test this zone, and then come right back down. But yeah, I'm out of this trade. Technically it's still active, but I think most of us got out because I did recommend that everyone exit before the weekend. So you guys should be out in profit. However, if you guys are still in, it's still currently in profit. So if you guys want to exit, feel free. Otherwise, you can hang on to it. But yeah, I don't think I mentioned the zone. So the upper zone right here is going to be 1.0815. I'm round that down. And then this lower zone down here is going to be 1.0778. Or sorry, 1.0779. It's going to round that up, just so there's some cushion there. You guys don't get too close to the zones. But those are the closest zones right here. However, it can push even further from there. But it's just a good idea to know, where the rejection points are. So that's AUD NZD. Let's keep going out further. AUD USD. Right here, same situation. Let's check out these zones. They're perfectly lined up from last week to last month till today. So I'm just going to show you guys real quick because a lot of people are asking me how long does it take to draw these zones. So here's going to be a fast way of doing it. So here's a naked chart, right? You guys can count down. I'm going to turn on the K2SR indicator and pretty much mark this up right here. It's right here. It's down here. There. There you go. In like less than a minute, I've drawn my zones. You can see these rejection points right here. So like I mentioned before, this is how easy it is, guys. Like you guys could literally draw these zones in like less than a minute and then start trading. So right here for AUD USD, like I mentioned, if there's no zone below, I'll just turn it back on, go on the higher time frame. And there we go. So price is currently right here. I'm just going to draw a zone right there. So technically it's inside a zone, and then a lower zone right here. There's more zones down here, but it's kind of relevant because price is way up here. However, I'll just draw them just in case. So, if price comes down that far during the week, we have a good idea where price is. But, during the week, you can always go ahead and update your zones if you want to. It's not necessary, but if you want to be extra careful, then that would definitely help. All right, so there you go. We have all the zones on the chart. Super simple, guys. So right here for AUD USD, the upper zone right here, I'll skip to the next one because price is already testing that zone. The upper zone up here is going to be 0.7222. And then the lower zone down here is going to be 0.7169. Round that up. Let's turn on the momentum indicator. Right here, we got a sell signal. So the thing with this is price didn't break below the zone. If it broke below the zone, we can take a sell. However, price is shooting up right now. So as it's shooting up right here, if we get a buy signal like we did right here and it closes above, then we can go ahead and take a buy entry from that point. Sorry, we got a weird message on here. Someone asked for the stats. All right, cool. So right here, we do have a sell signal, but like I mentioned, price hasn't closed below it. So if we do get a buy signal and it closes above here, then I would take a buy. However, if it comes back down, so see this rejection right here, if price rejects off this point, it comes down here, or even down here, you can take a sell, comes down here, take a sell. Even better, if it comes way down here, I'm like for sure going to take a sell if it comes way down here. So, there's a lot of different scenarios right here, but like I mentioned, it's just too risky because it's within these zones. So it can literally go either way. It can either correct back down or, it can shoot right back up over here. So like I mentioned, it's a risky week with all the news. However, if you want to take this trade, I'll just be pretty careful with that. Let's see. All right, so we got AUD USD. Next one is going to be, sorry, I keep getting messages. I'm going to respond to these real quick. Sorry guys, hasn't responded to some people in the chat. So I just all right, cool. So we're done with sorry, I don't think we went over CAD CHF, so let me just take this off. All right, cool. We got Brian coming on right now. Let me go ahead and delete these right here. Unnecessary. Run the K2SRs. All right, cool. So we got this right here. I'm gonna throw that right there. I don't like trading when well, I mean, price is way up here, so it doesn't really matter because the zones are way down here. But I don't really like when the zones overlap too closely like this. Generally, I like to just connect them, but I'll break them up for you guys here so you guys have a better view. But okay, so for CAD CHF, this is kind of a messy pair. You can see from all the wicks, this is a very, you know, it kind of moves very weird. It moves very regular. It's not like in one direction. It kind of just bounces around. So like right here, price is within this zone right here. So I'm just going to ignore these two zoned areas because the thing is price can either break above it and test this zone, or it can break below it and test this zone or this zone down here. So right here, the upper zone is going to be 0.6942, round that down. And then this zone down here is going to be 0.6894. So those are the two closest zones right there. Let me turn on the momentum indicator. So we do have a sell momentum here. So you can see price came up, tested the zone, and it's coming back down. So if price was to close, I wouldn't enter right here because there's not enough space. It's only about 6 pips. So spreads 4 pips, you're gonna have to pay more than that to get in and out of the trade. So if it rejects right here, you're gonna be screwed because you're gonna be stuck in that trade. So for this situation, if you're gonna take a sell, I'd wait for it to close below here, and then I would take that short position right down there. But currently, there's just no trade here because it's just going to bounce, you know, until there's some sort of confirmation. It's just too risky to take this trade, and it's not something that I'd want to take because it's just like you don't want to enter sell and then it reverses on you. Same with the other situation. If you don't want to take a buy and it comes straight back down, so I'd wait for that confirmation before you think about entering, you know, something like this. All right, next pair is CAD JPY. This is one that we had last week. Went straight to TP right here, 50 pips. Super nice. It's, you know, it's exactly what I mentioned with every strategy that I've been discussing. Same thing every time. You know, price came right here. It broke above the zone, got a buy signal. We took that buy signal and rode it all the way up, full TP. So we got another buy signal right here, right? I'm anticipating this to continue up to here before it either continues further up or rejects down. You know, there's the two scenarios for you right there. But okay, so let me go back and I'll redraw these zones for you guys. You guys can see from scratch. Take everything off the chart. You know, let me save my charts in case I lose connection. One time I drew all these zones and I lost connection. I didn't save it, and I redo everything all over again. So let's see. Check this out right here. Zone up there. Zone right here. Zone right there. I'm gonna be quick with these pairs, guys, because I noticed that I do take a lot of time on some of these pairs, and there are a lot of pairs that people don't even trade. So if you guys want me to be specific, you know, I have a couple pairs I'm gonna focus on later for Benedictor. He wants us to check out UC, GJ, and GN. So I'm gonna spend more time on those, but for these pairs, I'm just gonna be quick so I can show you guys the zones. Okay, so this upper zone area is gonna be 79.82, round that up. This lower zone over here is going to be 78.70. I'm going to run that up as well. So like I mentioned, we have a buy momentum signal right here from last week. You know, odds are it's going to continue up and finish that move until it reaches the zone. Because like I mentioned, price generally goes and retests these zones. So like technically this move is still from like way up here. I'm way down here. So this is where it started, but it just consolidated a little bit sideways before it made that break upwards, right? So technically it's still in a buy bias, We did get these sell signals right here, but like I mentioned, when price gets near these zones, it rejects right off it. Same situation right here, sell signal, rejected right off it. So you guys have a good understanding as to how I analyze these charts. Because I trade basically off momentum. If I see the momentum going that direction, I'll ride that wave and I'll exit before it reaches, you know, the rejection point up here. So that's CAD-JPY right there. Move on to the next one. CHF-JPY. Delete all these zones off the chart. Turn on the K2SRs. Zoom out. And then we can start marking this up. So we got one right here. One right here. One over here. There. And then it's kind of a big zone right here. So I'll just draw this right here. And these are kind of relevant, like I mentioned, because price is way down at the bottom. So these upper zones aren't as important currently, but it's just good to know where they are, as history always repeats itself. Well, for specific assets, so not for Bitcoin because it hasn't been around long enough, but currencies, you know, currency has been around for forever. So you can go back and data super far. Okay, so I've not marked this up. You can check out these rejection points. It's tested these points so many times in the past. So currently the closest upper, so I'm gonna go to this one right here because price already rejected off this point. So this upper zone right here is gonna be 115.36. I'm gonna round that down. And this lower zone right here is gonna be 114.34. I'm gonna round that down as well. So looking at this right here, turn on the K2TS, and then it looks like we got a sell signal, came down, rejected off this point, shot right back up. If we don't get a buy signal anywhere and price comes back down, so say price breaks into this area right here, right? Like we did right here, this green broke into this zone. If it breaks below it again, like it did right here, and this sell signal is still active, there hasn't been a buy signal, then I would take that sell and write it down to the next zone right here. So, you know, there's a lot of different ways to trade this. However, right now, it's just stuck at the zones. We'll have to see how, you know, price reacts once it gets to the zone, because what could happen here is we could get a buy signal and it could shoot way up here, or way up here, depending on, you know, what's going on this week. And that's because, you know, this COVID news, there's a lot of stuff going on where it'll just affect the market, you know, depending on how Trump comes out with his, his COVID positive stuff. I mean, there's a lot of things, there's a lot of different factors that factor into the market. And the problem with this asset is that they're both safe haven currency. So literally, you know, when bad stuff happens, CHF gets strong, same with JPY. You know, it just really depends on what's stronger. So let's move on to the next one. Euro odd. I'm gonna be a little quicker, guys, because we do have some the 4-hour candle closing at 10. So I just want to mark up the zones so that I can look for trades, because we do have, you know, some trades coming if there is any valid entries. Let me check the news real quick. All right, so there's Euro news coming up all day. So we might just hold off on any trades until that's done. That just might make it a little too risky to enter anything. Plus it's Sunday, so we're not trying to force anything. But I'm gonna go ahead and speed through these zones. I already, you know, explain in detail how I mark these up. So I'm just gonna do it real quick. You guys already know what I'm doing. So this is how quick you guys can get, because I do this literally every week, almost every day if there's some new trades. And you literally just mark that up and then you're good to go. Zoom out. There we go. I'm not going to analyze the, you know, any specific pairs. I'm just going to go back and I'm going to analyze the ones that Benedictor asked. Otherwise, you guys can ask for any other specific pairs and I can go back and look at those as well. But like right here, Euro odd, the closest upper zone is going to be 1.6354. And the lower zone right here is going to be 1.6253. So that's good right there. I'll come back and take a look because I just want to mark up the zone so I can start looking for trades. Because I have about 15 minutes right now. I'm just going to go through every pair. mark up these zones, and then I'll go back and see if there's any entries because I don't want to miss that 10 p.m. 4-hour candle close and miss any entries that could be, money for us right there. All right, so I marked up your CAD right here, the indicator. The closest upper zone is going to be 1.5619. The lower zone right here is going to be 1.5559. That's your CAD right there. On to the next one, your CHF. Draw these zones right here. And the zones don't have to be perfect, guys. It just gives you a rule of thumb as to where the rejection points are, but they don't have to be exactly on point. All right, cool. Here's EC. Here's CHF. The upper zone right here is going to be 1.0773. The lower zone down here is going to be, I retested, so I'll give you the lower one. It's 1.0750. On to the next one. All right. I'm surprised the EG zones are like pretty nice because normally they're pretty messy. It's kind of hard when you pair Euro and the GBP. But the GBP's been, it was hurting for a while. You can see right here, it was hurting for like a while and then it came right back up. Hey guys, be right back. My AC is freaking freezing, man. Turn it off. All right, guys, I'm back. It's freezing my office right now. All right, so check this out. EG, I don't know if I went over the zones already, but okay, the upper zone right here is going to be 0.9083, and the lower zone down here is going to be 0.9025. So those are the two zones that are closest to current price. I'm not going to count this middle zone because the price is already within it. It's either going to consolidate a little bit, and then it'll either break above it or break below. It can go either way. So that's EG right there. Next one's EJ. Delete that. K2SR, zoom out. All right, here we go. Yeah, I got 10 minutes before the candle closes, so I'm gonna zoom through this real quick. Or I mean, it doesn't matter. Even if it hits 10, I'm gonna just go through the pairs anyways to see if there's any entries. All right, cool. So for EJ right here, the closest upper zone is gonna be 124.19, round that up. And the lower zone right here is going to be 123.56. So let me just go through so I stopped off at EJ right here. I'm going to go down each pair and see if there's any entries for the 4-hour candle close so I can call them for our premium members. But you guys can see the trades as well since you guys are here live. Let me turn on the momentum indicator. All right, so it doesn't look like there's anything there for odd CHF, odd CAD, odd CHF. Actually, this could be a good one. So if this closes below, like I mentioned earlier, this could be good. I'm just gonna mark it up right away so that if there's an entry there, you guys can take it. And since you guys are here, spending your Sunday with me. You guys will have the trade as well. Even though this is meant for the premium members, you guys will have access to this trade. So I'll mark that up. Generally, if I have an orange flag next to it, that means I'm watching it for the candle close. If it's red, we have an active sell. If it's green, we have an active buy. So odd JPY, nothing there. Odd CHF, odd NZD, we still have this trade active. Odd USD, nothing there. CAD JPY, nothing there. Yeah, I'm not going to take a late entry on this. It's a little too late. I'm trying to see if I didn't close. I mean, it technically could have, but I'm not going to count that. It's a little risky. Or I mean, we still take this. Let's see. I could probably make like a late buy stop because this did open from today. Shoot for like 65 pips. So maybe I'll call that. We'll take a look at that later. Odd CHF, nothing there. Euro CHF. See, so this would have been a nice sell right here because you can see price came down and tested the zone. However, it was too close to the zone. It was only about 9 pips away. The spread's 3.4. So you got to pay 3 pips to get in. You got to pay 3 pips to get out. So your profit on this would only be about 3 pips. If you're trying to exit before it reaches a zone, which is just way too risky. Nothing there for EG, EJ. Oh, fuck. So I missed this trade. This would have been a good buy right here. So maybe it could be good for a late entry because what I see happening right here is we got a buy signal. But the market just opened. That's why I didn't call it. So there could be a possible buy entry right here to the next zone. Let's see how many pips. Damn, that would have been a nice buy. Yeah, I don't recommend entering this late because I don't ever chase trades. I just take trades as they come, and it's just too risky at this point. So I'm not going to call that. However, I'll this is what I'll do. I'll mark it up so that we can look at it later if we want to. About 70 pips. EN, this actually could be a late sell entry as well because we had a sell signal. It broke below the zone. I don't think I marked this up yet. So let me just check the zones, make sure they're still good. Yeah, so for the most part, the zones are still the same from last week. So this could be a good late sell entry. So I'm just going to share this with you guys, or let me just go through all the pairs. Actually, I don't want to jump the gun and call a trade and it ends up being bad. So let's just scroll through all these. I'm going to see how they all line up. So EN for sell, EA for sell. Let's see. Some water real quick. Yeah, so it looks like the euro is weak. So these are both going for sells. I might have to call that. So let me come back for it. Same for EU. So let's see. I'm gonna go through every pair and make sure that. So if we're selling this here, it looks like the Aussie is actually strong against the GBP and the euro. So this gives extra correlation as to the direction of price. So this might be a good sell. So I'm going to come back to that. We might have a sell right here. It's only 22 pips, so that's an issue there because it's just too risky. Because what might happen here is price might come down, and then it will probably reject off it. It might come down further, but this is the closest point of rejection. So the last thing you want to do is get into this trade and then get stuck in it, and then it ends up reversing on you because it rejects off the zone. Plus the spread's about 6 pips. It's not worth the risk because literally you come in, you're going to come in at a loss at this point right here. And then you're going to have to pay another 6 to get out this way. So that's like 12 pips right there. And then you're shooting for 20. So you're only going to lock in like 8 pips. Not really worth it. GBP, let's see. Check out these zones real quick. This is actually a nice buy right here. So I might call this as well. Let me mark it. Yeah, I already marked it up. So it looks like JPY is weak actually. Yeah, it's actually really weak across the board. Yeah, so I'm gonna call GJ. GN right here. I'll go back and analyze this for a Benedictor in a little bit. Looks like it could be a sell. So let me just check the zones real quick, make sure the zones are on point. Yeah, very on point. So this could be a good sell right here. I'll come back and analyze it in detail. I'm just gonna, the candle's about to close, so we gotta be quick with it before that happens. So I might call a sell right there. Actually, the JPY is weak. See, so I'll go over this later, but I like to correlate the pair sometimes. Like if I'm taking a JPY, I want to look at all the other JPYs to make sure that they're all moving in the same direction. GU right here. I mean, it looks like it's consolidating, so I don't think I really want to take this. 30 pip move. No, it's too risky. NZD CAD. Nothing there. Take that off. We still got our NC right here active technically. I'm still in that trade too, guys. So if you guys are in that trade, I'm still in it. NZD USD. So, all right, UCAD right here. About to hit TP. UC, UJ. All right, cool. So it looks like the JPY might be weak because it looks like it's going up across the board for pretty much all of these other pairs. All right, it's 9:57. I got about a few minutes. I'm gonna put my standing desk down. Time for me to sit. All right, let's put this down real quick. All right, so I had a couple of trades here in mind to call. So if you guys are waiting for those, let me line them up for you guys. Perfect. Got my desk down. Ready to sit down. Let's see. All right. So the first trade right here, Aussie CHF. Let me just line this up with the rest of the Aussie pairs. They're not all coming down. So the Aussie isn't weak overall. I mean, it's weak to some extent, but not overall. So let me see if the Swiss franc is strong across the board. Swiss franc's coming down, going up, going down. Yeah, so the Swiss franc is actually very strong across the board. So I'm going to call this trade right now. I'm going to put it in myself too. So put a little sell stop right there. Forex.com. Use this on my little small account. So you guys can see here that I'm taking these trades with you guys. I'm not just calling trades and not having any skin in the game with you guys. I'm actually taking these with you guys. So if you guys want to take these trades, feel free. My sell stop right there. Damn, it's too close. Okay, so I'm just gonna call this trade real quick. I might get a trade at market or something. All right, so if you guys aren't in premium, I mean, this is pretty much how the signals look. This is how I send them. I use the same strategy that, I'm teaching you guys. Nothing different. Here's this odd CHF. Generally, if the, actually, no, we could do 3 TPs for this. 5. Yeah, this seems kind of, it's a tight trade. It's only 35 pips. But it's better to be safe because there's a lot of news coming up. So I'd rather have you guys move your stop loss and profit when possible rather than risk it. All right, so we got that right there. I'm gonna call the rest of these trades before I enter those. So this would be a sell stop too. And these are all pending trades, guys. They're not market entries. They're pending sell stops. You know, if they don't fill, I'll tell you guys when to cancel. But if they do fill, I'll probably tell you guys that they filled as well. Real odd. I mean, who knows what could happen? These are like the market just opened, so like literally anything could happen at this point. But it's kind of good to be prepared. I'll send my alert shortly too. So 16 for that. Euro NZD. I keep putting these in the wrong chat. Wait, why is this thing so 85 pips? Yeah, my computer's lagging right now. I don't know what's going on with my computer. All right, cool. Yeah, guys, I don't know what's going on with my computer right now. It's lagging like crazy. You know, if I get disconnected, I'll try to get back on. I'm at my new place right now, guys. So it's I don't know. It might be the internet connection because the box is like in the living room now. But yeah, I'm not sure if that's connecting like a slowdown in the internet connection, but I'll try to get back on if I get logged off. Otherwise, I'll pick back up with this tomorrow. I'll probably have to call them to get that fixed. 37. Never mind. Looks like we're good. Perfect. So guys, just a reminder, these are all pending orders, okay? Don't enter them right away because they're not meant to be market entries. If they were, I would let you guys know, but they're not. So don't get overly excited. It is Sunday. Let's see the GBP pairs. Yeah, no, I'm not going to call these. All right, cool. So we have these up here. I mean, we have 4 pending orders right now. Let me just go ahead and put the alerts for these so that we know, you know, when they fill, when you hit TP, all that good stuff. CHF. 1 for how many pips was that? 10. Small move. $17. 5. So this is how I set my alerts, guys. Generally whenever I send an update, like, for example, if I say that we hit TP or something like this, audit NZD hit TP2. I only send these when I get the alerts. When price comes and hits these specific price points, that's when I send the alert. It's not like I'm watching the chart all day. Who wants to do that? I mean, some people would, but we follow so many pairs where I don't have time to just stare at the chart literally all day. If you guys just set alerts, you can literally set and forget. You just set the trade, set your alerts, and do whatever you want for the rest of the day. Alert set for that. Still active. So I don't know if any of these are going to fill. It is Sunday, so the market's slow. We are also in Asia session. So these might fill during London, but if not, I'll just tell you guys to cancel it because it is a risky week to be trading with, the heavy news this week. 16. What is this hero odd? 32. Five. And this is pretty much what I do with every trade, guys. This is how I know exactly what's going on at all times. Even though I'm not staring at the chart all day, alerts can save you a lot of time, a lot of stress too. You don't have to look at the chart all day. So none of these have filled, guys. Just another reminder, because I know a lot of people keep asking me if we're in the trade or not yet. Seven. 75. All right, cool. Looks like we're good, guys. So have everything set up for our pending trades. We have a pending sell for odd CHF. Looks like it's about to fill. I might just enter this market because I'm trying to be in this trade. All right, so I'm in it already. I mean, if anyone else wants to hop in it, technically it hasn't filled yet, but I feel like it's going to drop soon. So I'm in it. It's up to you guys if you guys want to enter. Oh, actually, this candle actually didn't close. So this is my bad. I actually wasn't supposed to call this. Fuck. I'm in the trade though. So if you guys want to hop in with me, feel free. Shit, I wasn't supposed to enter that trade because it didn't close below. There's no entry here, but the entry might. So if this candle closes below it by because I called it, plus I'm already in it, so I have a stake in this trade. So I'll leave that open for now. Damn it, I shouldn't have called that trade. I jumped that gun like way too early. Well, let's just look at the other pairs. I mean, CHF looks strong across the board, so I think it should be all right for the most part. All right, it doesn't matter. It's fine. You know, trade the trade. All right, so the last pair I looked at was EJ. Look at the next one, EN. So EN right here, I'm going to go ahead and draw those zones for you guys. Zoom out. Delete these. Actually, I think the zones are fine, guys. So let me go back and I'm just gonna, so just to cut things short so I don't have to go and redraw everything. What I'm gonna do is I'm going to turn on the, turn on the K2SRs, and then I'm gonna hide the, so you can see right here, this is just making things easy because we already drew these zones from last week. So literally I'm just hiding them and then reappearing them. So you can see that this zone right here lines up with that rectangle. This one isn't there, so I'm gonna delete that. That looks good down there. So this one actually connects down here, so this is fine. And then I don't think we have anything down here. I don't know why I have those drawn. That might be from the higher time frame, but I'm going to delete these right here. All right, so for EN over here, the closest zones are going to be this upper zone, which is 1.7652, and this lower zone right here is going to be 1.7488. So that's EN for you guys. We have that pending sell right there. EU right here, I'm gonna do the same thing to make things easy for you guys because we've been on this call for a while, so I don't want to be holding you guys for too long. All right, so I'm gonna delete this. Move this zone up here. So this is what I mean about us adjusting the zones every week, because every week, you know, new zones might be created. Some zones might disappear. If that happens, you can go ahead and just update your zones. All right, cool. So the closest zones for Euro USD is going to be 1.1737, and then the lower zone right here is going to be 1.1619. Tiller's asking, what's the TP for odd CHF? All right, so I left off on EU. Next one's GA. So for EU, odd CHF, the stop loss in TP is going to be, here, so you check this out. If you're not in it yet, Tiller, I wouldn't get into it right away. I mean, you can if you want, because I'm already in it, so I have no choice. I just gotta sit. I gotta pray that it's gonna come down. But so the TP is gonna be 0.65511. It's about 35 pips from the entry, and then the stop loss is gonna be 0.66211, and that's gonna be 35 pips away as well. So if you're in the premium, I did post them in the premium. I'm going to share them in the public probably in an hour or two. Let's see. Nikolai is here. Hey, Nikolai. I don't know if you're in here right now, but thanks for showing up. I know you're new. Yeah. Well, yeah. Welcome to everyone here that's new, because I know there's a lot of new people in K2 that have joined, the public groups. If you guys have any questions specific, I can go over pretty much anything you guys want me to cover. But like I mentioned, these are the trades that we have pending right now is odd CHF sell, odd NZD sell, which we have active from last week. This pending Euro odd right here, sell at this point, and our Euro NZD as well. Hey, Wayne. Wayne's asking, where do we get the signals you just did? Hey, Wayne, so if you're in the premium, all of these signals were sent in the premium channel, so the K2 premium signals channel right here, and the K2 premium chat, and also in the K2 premium Trade Talk. So they're all in here. They're not in the public group yet. You know, obviously the premium members get them first. They get them real time as I take the trades. I'm going to share them to the public group in about an hour, 2 hours, depending, or if we hit TP1. So depending on what comes first, you know, obviously the premium members have priority. So, you know, once they get into the trades, once we hit TP or like an hour, 2 hours pass, I'll share them in the public groups. I'm not sure if you're in the premium, Wayne. If you are, you know, just check in any of the premium channels. So the premium signals channel, this is where all my trades are sent. And they're also forwarded to the premium chat and the premium trade talk. So Fatif's asking if they're active. Still pending, but I entered on accident. It's horrible. But yeah, it's probably going to come down. So I'm not too worried about it. It looks like the CHF is pretty strong across the board as we looked. So the CHF's coming down. So this is how I correlate them. I look at every pair that's, you know, paired with the CHF. So odd CHF, that's what we have pending. CAD CHF, it looks like it's coming down as well. Euro CHF looks like it's coming down as well. GC, it's coming down, obviously. NZD CHF, it's coming down. I mean, it sucks because we're in this trade already from last week, but you know, the week changes, so you know, you can't just be praying that it'll stay in that point. However, it can hit both of ours. So like our stop loss is pretty wide for NZD CHF. For our odd CHF, it's only about 35 pips. So if it does drop to TP1, I might just, you know, take my profit right there because it might just reject back up. Who knows? You know, there's no guaranteed direction of price. So those are all of the USD CHF. This is coming down as well. So you can see across the board, all the CHF pairs are coming down. So that's why I'm not too worried about this trade. But like I said, I'm here a little too early. Oh yeah, Wayne said not yet, getting divorced, remember? Yeah, Wayne. So yeah, Wayne, if you're looking for these trades, here I'll just go over to show you, you know, which exactly we have. So our odd CHF right here, I'll just show you right here. If you want to, you can just, if you want to pause the webinar, you can have them right here. I just don't want to share them to the public just yet because it's a little too early. But if you want to, I'll leave it here for a second so you can see them. And if you want to just pause the webinar, you can copy these. But I'll send them to the public in a little bit. You know, I just have to give the premium members priority. And then here's Euro NZD right here. So that's about it for what we have active right now. Aldridge said that odd CHF is active. Nice. Man, good thing it's coming down because I'm in that trade. Perfect. So we're good with that. Let me keep going down the list. So what did I leave off on? I think I looked at here. I'll just go over GA because I don't think I went over GA yet. Sorry guys, I always get lost in my thoughts. So right here for odd CHF, instead of drawing the zones, because I know it takes a while, I'll show you guys right there. So you can see that all of these zones line up with last week's zone. So these zones were drawn last week. You can see that they're all there still. However, they added this bottom zone right here. So I'm just going to add that right there. Or you know what we could do? I mean, it's fine. We could do that. So you can see there, they line up perfectly. So for GA right here, the closest, let me hide this indicator. The closest upper zone is going to be 1.80670. Let's round that up. And the lower zone down here is going to be 1.7872. Round that up as well. So that's it for that one. And then we're getting close to the ones that Benedict wanted to look at. He wanted us to look at UC, GJ, and GN. So we're at GC right now. Let's speed through this as well. Turn on the K2SRs. All right, so it looks like everything lines up pretty well. The only difference is this one. We can move this up right here. And I think that's about it. It looks like we could delete this one up here. It's too high up. There's no zone up there. But yeah, lines up perfectly. So let me see GC, hide the zones. The closest upper zone right here is going to be 1.7217, round that up. And the lower zone right here is going to be 1.7158. I'm round that down. So that's GC right there. All right, that was GCAD actually. GBP CHF is right here now. So GBP CHF is going to be, turn on the indicators. Let's hide these. It's a bit of a messy pair. I think both of the GC pairs are kind of messy like that. So let's see, we could, it's kind of hard to bother with these because I don't even like trading this pair. I feel like GC is always been a hit or miss for us. So CHF. All right, cool. And then we got this one right here too. Just move this down. And then we can probably move this one. Actually, there's no lower zone there. So let's see. Draw that right there. All right, looks good. So let me just hide this real quick. All right, so price is stuck within the zone. You can see that GC's or GCHF is a bit of it's a messy pair. So price is pretty much consolidating within this zone right here. However, if it breaks above, this upper zone is going to be 1.1945. This lower zone right here is going to be 1.1835. But me personally, I don't like trading this pair, so I might take this off the watch list actually, because this and GCAD have always been like risky pairs to trade. All right, GJ. So here's the first one for Benedictor. So he wanted us to check this out. I'll do this from scratch since this is something that you really wanted me to look at. Zoom out from there, turn on the K2SRs, clean chart, draw our zones right there. So looks like we got these marked up. Get these lower ones right here. And then this big one down here. All right, cool. So we'll go into this one more in detail. So check this out. I'm going to hide this. Okay, so for GJ right here, you can see that these zones tested perfectly way back in June. So the same exact area it tested right here in September. So as it moved up right here, you can see that the same zone where it tested right here, tested in September, it tested in July, it tested in June, tested in, let's see, again in March. So this is a strong area where it's at currently. So currently price is right here. Let's turn on the momentum indicator. All right, so we have a buy signal right here. So this is something that I was actually looking at to take because this would be a valid entry right here. I was going to call it for a late buy. So technically it'd be right here for about, give or take 155. So technically, since it broke above this zone, I'm pretty much anticipating that's going to shoot up to the zone right here where it can either break above it or reject back down. You know, those are the two scenarios right there. Let's go ahead and match this up with the other JPY pairs just to find that correlation. So if we're looking for this to go up, we want to see other JPY pairs where it's paired on the bright side for them to go up as well, so that it could justify our our hypothesis that GJ is going to be coming up. So let's go to the other pairs. AJ, it's going up. KED JPY, it's going up. CHF JPY, it's going up. EJ, it's going up. So this gives strong correlation that price is going to go up. I might even just call it right now because it looks super strong. So GJ is going up, NJ is going up, UJ is going up. I mean, this looks great, guys. What the heck? I'm gonna call it. Well, like there's no point in us not calling it at this point. But I'm gonna put the stop loss a little tighter. I know a lot of people want to go for that full move, but like I mentioned, I don't like taking overly risky trades. I'm happy with 100 pips. I don't have to go for that 150. Because the thing is, I trade bigger accounts, like with my more serious accounts. This is like the one that I'm trading on now is just like my fun money account, basically. There's like 4,000 in here, 5,000. So it's like, it's nothing. If I lose this, it's fine. But, odds are I'm probably not going to lose it because our win rate's so super high. I actually grew this account. So this account was really small. I think it was at like 2,000. And I literally just took every trade that I call on this account with about 5% risk. Or no, it was about 1 to 3%. And then lately I've been taking 5% because the market's been so good. But yeah, I grew this account right here. I also have like 2 or 3 other accounts. I have like the FTMO account and also have a bigger account that I trade on my own. But yeah, so GJ right here looks like a good buy. I might call it. Let's see. See, the problem with this, actually, this crossed up at 4. So, what the heck? I'm going to call it because it looks like a great call. Enter a buy stop right there. How many pips? 100 pips. 5% risk. Let's see if it places. Oh, it actually placed. Okay, cool. So yeah, this is a great trade. I'm gonna call this for you guys too. This is going to be a buy stop. JPY. If you guys aren't in the premium, just because you guys are here in the webinar, you guys can go ahead and copy this trade as well if you want to. It's up to you, but I'm taking it myself. So if I'm taking it, I probably feel good about it. So it's up to you guys, but it's available. So if you guys want to copy this trade, I'll leave this here for a few seconds if you guys want to copy it. Otherwise, you can just pause the webinar and just copy yourself, and then you can just refresh the webinar so you can get up to where we currently are. All right, so I'll get a few more seconds. All right, cool. So that's it for that. I have that pending. Actually, let me just set the alert real quick. GA filled. TP2, 50. What am I doing? Man, it's been a long day, guys. All right, knock out after this. Let's see. Okay, profit target right here. All right, so it looks like it's probably going to fill pretty soon. Let's give it some time. All right, so let's all set up right there. That's GJ for you guys. Let me keep going down. GN. This is another one that that Benedictor wanted us to go over, so I'll go over this in detail as well. I wanted to call this trade, but see, the problem is it's too close. I mean, it's not that close, but it's pretty close to, I mean, technically I could have called it tune for the expiration. You could just put it for like as far out as you can. For me, I don't have I don't have like I could have it open ended because I have the premium account, but I don't know if you guys are using the free account or one of the other lower premium accounts, you'd have to set a date. So just set it to the farthest one out. So I think farthest one out would be like or no, it's actually a month out. Or no, like I think it's 2 or 3 months. So just put it as far out because you're gonna delete it anyways if it doesn't fill. I would just put it as far out as possible. Oh shit. I accidentally sent that right there. Delete that. Let's see. All right. So for GN right here, Coin wants to ask about gold. He said, can we still check back on gold? So let me just yeah, I'll just check that out real quick. Or actually, let me mark up GN real quick, bro, and then we'll move over to that because I know Benedictor wanted us to look at this one. So let's just delete everything off the chart. Turn on the zones. All right, cool. Got that right there. Hey, Candyman, how's it going? It's a funny name, dude. Candyman, so what's up? All right, so let's keep going through. All right, got this zone up here, this one down here, this one as well. It was kind of a big move. Yeah, so I'm not going to connect these two right here. I'm just going to draw a separate one for that. You know, whatever, I'm just going to connect them. I'm probably not going to take a trade if it's going to be too close within. All right, cool. So we got these zones set up right here. You can see right here that price respects these zones pretty nicely. So you literally can go back and test the same exact zones back in May until today. So this is where price currently is. Turn on the momentum indicator. We did get a sell momentum there. So what I anticipate happening right here is I anticipate it to come down further. So we did get this drop right here. It came up, rejected off the K2SR zone. We did get the sell signal. However, it got stuck at this zone right here. So we rejected back up. We got another sell signal right here. So I anticipate it to possibly come down further. I was going to call a signal, but I think it's just too late to call it at this point. So I'm probably not going to call that one. Plus, it was just a little too close to the zone. It's about 40 pips, but for GN, this moves away fast, so it's a little risky. But if you were to take this trade, I think Benedictor, if you're in this trade, if you're in a sell, I think you're completely fine because I do anticipate it to come down further right here. And then once it gets to this point, price could either drop down further or it can reject off this zone and come back up. Because you can see right here, price respects these zones pretty nicely. Let's see. So like right here, price came up, rejected off this zone, came down, rejected off this zone, came up, rejected, literally bounces from zone to zone. So it looks like a good sell right now. However, I just don't want to enter it too late. Kennyman said he's in a buy for odd CAD right now, and he thought. So let's go back to odd CAD real quick. I'll keep going down the list, guys. But looking back at odd CAD, so let's see. I had it marked up right here. So this is what we have for odd CAD right here. I'm going to turn on the momentum indicator and you're in for a buy. So let's see. So it looks like he probably took that buy because it rejected off this low right here. So price came down and it shot right back up. So me personally, I still have a sell bias going for this trade right now because the last momentum signal was a sell momentum candle. So basically what happened here was, like I mentioned for the other trade, once it comes down to this point, it could either reject up or it could break below and continue down. So what happened here was it rejected up, right? As it rejected up, it tested this upper K2SR zone. So now it's coming back down to retest this zone or this zone before it either rejects back up and just consolidates within these two zones, or it breaks below it and continues down. So we have, a few confirmations here. We have the rejection of the K2SR zone right here. We have the previous sell momentum right here. On top of that, if you want to be extra careful, I would turn on the K2 pivots indicator. And then you can see right here that it's kind of iffy because the thing is, price is above. So let me just hide everything. Let me also turn off the indicator. So although I have a sell bias for it, you can see that the trend is actually swinging upwards. So it's kind of like consolidating sideways before it could either, shoot up or come down. But you can see right here, generally if price is above the pivots and angling up, it's a trend up. If price is below, it's trending down. And then it pretty much just does the same thing over and over again. So if price is above the pivots, all pivots are angling in the same direction and they're spread out. It's a nice trend up. Nice low retracement right here. Correction back to the upwards. Drop down right here. Swing up right here. And then it's currently just consolidating sideways, if you can see what I'm seeing here. So, I mean, it could go either way. But if I turn on the zones right here, see the thing with this is that it could literally go either way because it's just consolidating within this zone and this zone right here. So it could either, shoot up from here or shoot down from here. It could literally go either way. So I do see that you're in on a buy. So let me what I'll do, since you're on the 15-minute, I will drop to the 15-minute as well with the zones there. So on the 15-minute, it also looks like it's still coming down because you can see the same situation here. Price, it works on all time frames. So like, check this out. Although we mark this up on the 4-hour, right here on the 15-minute, it's still respecting these zones, the same ones on the 4-hour. So price came down, rejected off this zone, came up. Here, I'll draw the arrow so it looks more, you can see exactly what I'm looking at. So price came from right here, rejected off this zone, came up, rejected off this zone right here. So what I anticipate happening is it to continue down and either test this zone or even further down. But I could see why you took that buy there. You probably took the buy because of the rejection off this point. Maybe you took that last week or earlier today when market reopened, because it was going sideways in consolidation and then it broke upwards, right? So yeah, same situation here. I still think it's going to come down, probably test this zone. But this doesn't mean that it's going to come down, super far. I don't know where your stop loss is. Your stop loss might be way down there, like pretty far down. So if it's super far down, then, you might be safe. However, if it's really close to the zone, odds are it might come down to this zone and, a lot of other things can happen. Like I mentioned, it can reject up or it can continue down to the next zone. So, I mean, there's a lot of different things that can happen here. Also, it's Sunday and it's Asia session, so the market's moving slow. I think once we get to London, then you can, get a better picture of what's going on. But currently, it's the slowest market right now and it's still Sunday. So there isn't much volatility in the market. However, once London opens, we can see some craziness happen. So hopefully it works out in your favor. However, currently, the way that I'm staring at the chart, this is pretty much what I see at this time. Let's see, Candyman said, I've considered to bounce back to last support. Yeah, nice. Yeah, so that's exactly where I would have put my stop loss too. So say if I was entering a buy, my stop loss would have been, say if I'm assuming you probably, let me turn on the momentum indicator, like right here. Oh, so this would have been a nice buy. So technically right here, if you took this buy signal, you could have wrote it to this zone up here, 15 pips. Then I would have exited because, the rejection came from this point and it played out exactly like we would have anticipated. But yeah, my stop loss would be at the swing somewhere down here. So it'd be about 0.95162. But I mean, we'll see what happens. I wouldn't exit just because you know there's so many different ways to analyze the market. Just because I analyze it this way doesn't mean this is exactly what's going to happen. So good luck with that, Kenny, man. Hopefully it plays out in your favor, or at least you know maybe exit and profit if you can. But okay, so let's go back to the 4 hour. I left off at, let's see, I think GN, right? Yeah, GN. So we'll move on to the next one, GU. Okay, so GU right here, I'm going to turn off the momentum indicator. I'm just going to do what I was doing earlier, guys, because nobody really asked for GU. So I'm just going to turn on the K2SRs, and then I'm going to hide these. Actually, I'm going to redo the whole thing because you can see that these zones are not there anymore from last week. Like they're literally down here. So I'm just going to start fresh, turn on the K2SRs, and draw the new zones. So if that happens where the new zones are completely different, you know, it would make more sense for you to just create new zones instead of making adjustments. It's probably a lot faster that way. All right, cool. So it looks like everything looks nice. Let me take this off the chart. All right, cool. So the upper zone right here is going to be 1.3008. I'm around that up. And then the lower zone down here is going to be 1.2865. I'm rounding down that as well. So this looks cool right here. However, let's see, let's turn on the, the momentum indicator. Yeah, it looks like we have a buy momentum right here. However, it rejected right off it. So it might either continue up and break up here, then I would take a buy. However, it could come down and retest this zone as well. So there's a lot of different scenarios here. Like I mentioned, I don't like to trade where it's, you know, it's too risky or there's like a lot of uncertainty. I'd wait for it to break up here for confirmation, then I would enter a buy. Or if it closes below, you know, somewhere down here, maybe I'll take a sell. But who knows? You know, this is there's a lot of stuff going on in the news, especially with Trump getting coronavirus. You know, this is why the US dollar was weak. So generally, if you guys aren't familiar with how price moves with currencies, basically, if price is going up, that means that the first currency is gaining in strength against the second currency. So if price is coming down, that means the second currency is stronger than the first currency. So right here, price came down, the USD was stronger than the pound. Price is going up, pound stronger than the US dollar. It's a quick breakdown for you guys. All right, so that's it for GU. NZ CAD right here. Let me just turn on the SRs. No one asked for this, so I'm just gonna make sure it's lined up. So I delete this one. Looks like, okay, so this, you know, this too messy. Let me just redo the zone. So if it's too messy like that, it's better off to just redo it, especially for a pair like NZD. You know, this pair just gets messy. There's new zones like every week. So it's kind of hard to update. And you're probably better off just creating brand new zones. All right, cool. Let me hide these right here. All right, this upper zone right here is going to be 0.8848. This lower zone down here is going to be 0.8818. The thing with NZD CAD is that it barely moves. So, you know, until it breaks above here, I won't take a buy. So if it breaks above here, I'll take a buy. But if it's down here, I'm not going to mess with it. And, you know, if it breaks way down here, then maybe I'll take it. I probably wouldn't take it right here because you can see the space between this area to the next zone is only 14 pips. Spread's 6 pips, guys. So if you calculate spread both ways, that's 12 pips. You're gonna make like 2 pips getting in and out of here safely. So that's that. NZDCHF. This is one that we had from last week. Unfortunately, it's still active. This pair just moves really slow. NZDCHF just consolidates until it breaks out. So when it broke out over here, I was anticipating it to shoot up to the next zone. However, you guys know what happened with the news and stuff, COVID. So when that happened, CHF dropped. So I mean, it didn't drop, but it gained in strength because Trump got COVID, the US dollar got weak, the safe haven currencies like the Swiss franc got strong, and that's why it came down. LTG said, how do prices move based on news? So there's no real way to really identify it, because the thing is, even if the news is good or it's bad, the market makers and institutions will still push price whatever direction they want to push it. So that's why I don't trade news, because it's basically gambling. Because literally, if the news is really good, everyone's going to trade in one direction. However, the market makers and institutions aren't going to make that easy. So say the Trump news came out, right? So the Trump news came out, it dropped right here, right? So there was a whole bunch of people that were selling because they were like, oh, okay, Swiss franc's going to gain strength. But as soon as there was enough sellers in the market, you know what the institutions did? They spiked price right back up. And why did they do that? To stop everyone out. So the thing is, when you trade during news, that's like the highest time for manipulation, because the market makers and institutions are trying to see what everyone else is doing. So if you guys aren't familiar with the IG sentiment, so let me just sentiment NZDCHF. So basically, you could go here and you could Google IG sentiment, whatever pair you want to look at. You look over here, and it'll tell you how many people are long, how many people are short. So right here, 53% people are long. So when the news happens and there's like 70% of people are long, because everyone's like betting one direction, what the market makers do is they might push price up a little bit just to lure people in, and then they'll just spike it all the way down to stop everyone out. And I'm sure you've seen that before. I'm sure you've traded news and you've seen how price moves during news. Everyone's anticipating it to move one direction, but everyone gets suckered into that move, and then they just get stopped out in the opposite direction. So that's why I don't even trade news. Like, I always advise people to not trade during news, but stuff like this, like the Trump stuff, that was like, it wasn't even planned. It was just, Trump sent out a tweet. It was like, oh, I got coronavirus. So it was hard for someone to really react to that. Whoever saw it first just sold off on any CHF pair because they were anticipating it to gain in strength. So it's really a risky thing to do. So I personally don't recommend you trade news. However, if you want to do it, it's really 50-50 on you. Like I'm sure you're aware, like when news happens, price spikes in both directions, or it spike in one direction, then reverse on you. So it's something that I don't really recommend people trade. Unless you're gambling, then you might as well go to a casino or something. That's what I always tell myself. If it's 50-50, it's like, damn, or I'll just go heavy on US 30, like one direction. But yeah, okay, so that's NZDCHF. Next one is NJ right here. I'm just gonna check the zones if they match up. Probably not gonna match up. Actually, it's not that bad. This is actually fine. So let me just delete this one. I don't know why this one connected down here, but let's what I could do is I could just delete this one because it's not really necessary. Move this one down right here. And there's a new zone down here as well. All right, cool. So we got that right there. Closest upper zone so it's within this zone right here. I'm just gonna ignore this. This upper zone right here is gonna be 70.89. And then this lower zone right here is gonna be 69.42. It's gonna round that up. So that's NJ right there. Last one right here is NZD USD. So for this one over here, let's see. Yeah, so it's just easier for me to update the zones, guys, instead of me, drawing everything up, especially if it's one that nobody cares about. So that's why I'm just doing this. I mean, however, if you want me to go in detail and like break it down for you guys, I can. But, for the most part, it's just unnecessary. And we've been on this webinar for 2 hours, so you guys can see my voice is starting to diminish. So it might be time for me to get off soon. So for NZDCHF, I'm not going to count this middle zone. Upper zone right here is going to be 0.668. I'm just going to round that up. Lower zone right here is going to be 0.6628. Round that up as well. UCAD over here. Let me turn on the SRs. Zoom out. Right, so this zone's way down here. Looks like it just moved a little bit, not a crazy amount. Yeah, everything else looks good though. So, all right here. All right, the upper zone is going to be 1.3317. This lower zone right here is going to be 1.3259. And that's it for UCAD. All right, USDCHF. So this is one that I'm going to go in detail because you guys wanted me to break this down. So here's the naked chart right here. I'm going to turn on the K2 SRs. I'm going to draw these zones now. So right there. Right there. Right there. Right there. Let's see what else we got here. Right there and right down there. All right, so the it's stuck within the zone right here. This upper zone over here is going to be 0.92 thousand. And this lower zone right here is going to be 0.91400. So real simple right there. It's stuck within the zone. We did get a buy signal right here, but it didn't break above. So if it did break above like it did right here, like if it closed up at this point, then we could have taken a buy. However, it didn't. And what happens when it rejected off? It came straight down. So currently it's at this zone right here below. So it could do one of two things. It could either reject off it and correct back up to do what it was supposed to do over here. However, if we get a sell signal, then it could probably break below and continue down further. So USDCHF, it's an iffy pair. Like I mentioned with NZDCHF, because Trump got coronavirus, look what happened. It came crashing down. That doesn't mean, however, that it's going to keep crashing down forever. We'll have to wait and see what happens. But we do have a odd CHF sell over here, so I'm hoping it comes down further. So it's probably going to continue down. We'll have to wait and see what happens, within the next couple days or so. Depending on if Trump gets better, there's a coronavirus vaccine. I don't know. There could be a lot of things that could affect the market. There's a ton of factors right now. We're in an election year, so things get crazier. Like I'm sure you guys saw the debate. This could continue to drop further as people put their money into safe haven currencies because they don't trust the US dollar, which, give or take, I don't know. We'll see what happens. Okay, so the last pair right here is USD JPY. Let's see. So JPY right here. Let me see if the zones are lined up properly. Turn off this, turn this on. All right, yeah, it looks like the zones didn't really change much at all. Just this lower one right here. I'm just going to fix this. So yeah, looking at price right now, the closest lower zone right here is going to be 105.54. And this upper zone right here is going to be 105.80. It's going to round that up right there. So if we turn on the K2 SRs, we do have a buy signal. However, price came down. But so here, technically, we still have a buy signal. Even though this was a false buy, it's still a buy momentum because it corrected back up. So it traced down, corrected back up. So what I anticipate happening for this is to come up and test this zone. Once it tests that zone right there, it can either continue up, test this zone, or it can reject off and come straight back down. So there's two scenarios right there for JPY. However, I think it would have because I was looking at all of the the other JPY pairs here, it looks like the JPY is actually weak right now. So it looks like all the JPYs are actually heading up. So for UJ, it's probably going to head up as well and test that next zone up there. All right, cool. So that's UJ. I think that's about it, guys. No one asked about indices, so I'm not going to go over those. I can probably go over those during the next webinar because I don't think anyone trades US 30 on the higher time frame, anyways. Unless you're swing trading it, it's just too risky to hang on to for that long. But these are the zones from last week. I think they still look okay for the most part here. And actually, I'll just go over it anyways, just for my own zones, because I still trade this. So, I mean, obviously, I still trade this. My favorite pair, but I don't really care about the zones because I trade the daily strategy, which doesn't really care about the zones because it disregards it. However, it's good to know. All right. All right, looks good. Yeah, so right here we have, it's pushing up currently. But here's the thing with US 30, it does respect technicals most of the time, but most of the time, otherwise it doesn't. It just does what it does because there's a lot of stuff going on in the world right now. So, with COVID going on, you see these huge dumps and then random corrections. So I wouldn't really focus too much on the technicals for US 30. I would just follow the momentum because that's what we do. And we've been doing pretty well so far. So, all right, guys, I think that's it. There's no other questions. We pretty much went over every pair, on the watch list for currencies. Indices kind of move how they want. So I don't really follow indices as much. I kind of just do the daily strategy, which a lot of people also do. So if you guys have any questions, feel free to reach out. I'll be available on Telegram. I'll kind of be here and there because I'm doing some stuff right now. I'm still moving into my new place. So I have a lot of stuff to construct and a lot of cleaning up to do. So if you guys have any questions, feel free to email me or send me a message on Telegram. Otherwise, I'll be available, on all other social media from here and there. But yeah, guys, thanks for showing up. If you guys are still waiting for those entries, let's look at our active ones right now. All right, still coming down. So everything looks fine. I don't think anything's really filled yet. I'm going to give an update if they do or if they don't. Otherwise, just sit tight, guys. I think it should be fine. But yeah, guys, thanks for showing up. I'll be available on all of the other channels. All right, one more for Rihan. So Rihan, let me check EU real quick. All right, Rihan. So this is the EU that I marked up earlier. Same zones from earlier. Turn on the K2 momentum indicator. Right here, we have a buy signal, right? So what's happening is it came up from here. It's going to test this zone. From this zone, one of two things could happen. It could break above and retest this zone right here or break up further, or it can reject right off it and come back down to retest this zone over here. So if you're going to match this up with other USD pairs, so this is EU, look at AU, it's going up as well. We can go to GU, it's going sideways. So there's not really a strong correlation among a lot of the pairs. So right here, USD CHF is coming down, UCAD is coming down as well. So for EU, the US dollar isn't strong. So this is, I probably don't see it rejecting off this point. I probably see it pushing up and continuing up further. So, I mean, personally, I wouldn't disregard this rejection off this point because you can see right here, price came up like it did. So like right here, we had a buy signal, right? It came up and tested this zone right here, actually all the way up here. The same thing could happen again right here. This is pushing up. It could come up and test this zone right here before either continuing upwards or rejecting right off it. So it just really depends on, how the market reacts. Me personally, I wouldn't enter this trade because it's too risky. The thing is, the last thing you want to do is enter a buy. And then as soon as you enter a buy, what happens? Rejects right off it. I would wait for some confirmation. So I would wait for it to break above here before I take a buy, or wait for it to come back down and give us a sell signal for it to continue downwards. However, I don't know, there's a lot of things going on in the world, especially with, Trump getting COVID, like I mentioned earlier. So when Trump got COVID, it shot up like right here, came down, then it shot right back up. So I'd be careful with EU. Wait for some extra confirmation before you enter anything. If I do see something, I'll call it myself. However, I don't see anything with EU right now, and I don't see anything really worth taking, currently at the moment. So I personally wouldn't take it. But it's really up to you if you want to take it or not. Just keep in mind that, two main scenarios right now, Rihan. We could either reject off this point or it can continue up. However, I don't know. We'll have to wait and see how market moves. In an hour, London session is going to open. So once that opens, you can get a better picture as to how it's going to move. Otherwise, it's just going to be risky because there is US news. Euro news, I think. Yeah, at midnight. So at midnight, there's going to be the Euro group meeting. So that could affect the market, one way or another, because it's medium impact news, plus it's all day, literally. So from like midnight until 6 a.m., that's when it's going to happen. Okay, our odd CHF filled. I'm actually in that trade already. So yeah, we're moving down in profit right now, guys. So it's looking good. I will, let's see, when did I share these trades over here? Odd CHF, I sent that about an hour ago. So I'll share both of these in the public if you guys are there. Everything except GJ. GJ will come a little later. But yeah, I think so. That's about it right there. All right, cool, guys. So I think that's about it. One more question from Jose. Jose said the data of the market sentiment came from the brokers. Yeah. So basically, Jose, if you go to IG, like I did earlier, you just Google IG sentiment. It'll give you the data from the broker IG. IG is one of the biggest brokers worldwide. So if you go to IG, they have like a huge pool of people. So they know exactly, if they're giving out this information, this information is usually pretty correct. They're one of the biggest brokers worldwide. So I would trust it. I always go by this sentiment data. I wouldn't base everything off this sentiment data, but it gives you a good idea where people are trading. Yeah, Rihan, you're kind of a couple hours late, bro. I think you showed up late, Rihan. But if you go back an hour into this webinar, I sent out all the signals for these. We went over these live. And if you go in the premium, they're all sent here as well. So the first signal was sent at 10 o'clock. It's 11 right now. So I sent these out an hour ago. So you might have just appeared a little late, but I did just share them to the public group, aside from this GJ right here, which I just sent out right now. So everything else looks good. Our odd CHF is dropping in profit. Man, it's looking good. Kind of glad I entered that. But yeah, guys. Okay, so I think that's it. We've been on this webinar for well over 2 hours, so I'm starting to lose my voice. So I'm gonna go take a break, guys. If you guys have any other questions, feel free to message me on Telegram. I'll try to get back to you as soon as possible. Otherwise, I will be active in the chat. So thanks for showing up, guys. This live will be up shortly, and then I'll share with you guys on there as well. If you guys want to go ahead and replay it. And I went down the watch list in order. So if there's any specific pair that you want to look at, just go and rewind it or fast forward it to in order. If you're looking at odd JPY, just fast forward. If you want to look at EU or if you want to look at EA, just rewind it. So everything there is pretty good. Coin, let's see, Quinn, I went over gold like 4 times. I don't know if you saw it earlier, but okay, so we got a sell signal right here. I anticipated to come up. But if you want to look at the analysis in detail, I went over this like 4 times today, but it's, it looks like it's coming down right here because it rejected off this point. We got a sell signal. So I see it coming down right there. So that's pretty much where, but I did review this a couple times. So just go back and rewind the replay. And if you want to, if you want me to give you a breakdown of it, just send me a message and then I'll send you you could just rewind this because this is exactly what I'm going to show you anyways. And this is using the K² SR strategy. So, all right, guys, thanks for showing up. I'm going to post this up shortly, and then I'll catch you guys later.